yelling out early, Ray?
Oh, I'm sorry, man. I'm excited about this.
Premature.
He's had a premature yell out.
Yeah, the premature segment.
There it is.
Well, here we are again. Ray's Record Room, Triple R Studios. The great man is on my right once again. How are you, Shugs?
I'm loving it. Thanks, Dawsy Dawes. I'm loving it.
Shugsy Woogsy.
I'm all warmed up for this little segment.
Down the end, Mike, Big Roy, Whitney, here's again.
How's that?
And for this is a special episode again, and we've got a special guest sitting in on this one. The first time we've had a special guest sort of sit in on just the three of us, and it's Josh Knight from the Canada Rugby League.
How's that? That is good. That's a good appeal. Thank you.
And this one is pretty much about Widow, this episode, because with State of Origin coming up next week, you were invited down to the Blues Camp at the SCG to speak to the guys. So I'll just hand it over to you and, you tell us all about it, because it's an amazing story.
Set that scene, Widow. Set it.
Well, it started with Madge Maguire back in 2014, and I ran into him in a coffee shop back then. Might have been the year before. He said, I know you're a Rabbitohs tragic, blah, blah, blah. Would you like to come out and speak to the team if we find a time, whatever? So it wasn't until 2014. And he got Mick Andrews, myself, and at the end, Kathy Freeman to present the jumpers and stuff like that. But the first thing Madge asked me to do was that the Rabbitohs in 2014 were playing the Dragons at the SCG in one of the old, what do they call those games?
Charity Shield?
No, it was a Charity Shield game, but old conventional match at the SCG. And he said, Souths are changing in the home dressing room. Well, of course, the home dressing room at the SCG is my old dressing room. And what a lot of people don't know is that when the ground was designated the Sydney Cricket Ground, that dressing room was given to the New South Wales cricket team. So that's our home dressing room, and we lend it to other teams, even the Australian cricket team. We'll let you change in our dressing room. So Madge said, can you come out and talk to them prior to that game? So I did, and told him some stories about the dressing room and what a revered place it is. It's hallowed turf. Playing on the SCG is hallowed turf. And I got lucky to play there for nearly 15 years, so I'm very connected to that room and to that ground. Anyway, they won that game, and they went on about a 9 out of 11 winning streak after that, and Madge got me out to Redfern Oval a few times. I think he might have thought I was a bit of a lucky charm that year.
Yeah, the Whisperer. The Whisperer.
And we won the comp. So we've just celebrated.
Very superstitious coaches.
Yeah. So about 6 weeks ago, there was a celebration at South Sydney Juniors of the 10-year anniversary of South winning that particular competition. They got as many guys to go from the old team that were available, and I think there are only 4 or 5 that couldn't make it. Luckily, the night before, South had played Brisbane in Brisbane. We won that sort of 30-odd, not much. So the boys had a barnstorming win, and they all came back for that game. And they asked me prior to that, could I get up on stage, interview Madge and Mark Ellison, and interview Johnny Sutton and Jason Clark after that.
Was this at South Juniors?
This is at the Juniors. There's 350 people there. It was an unbelievable celebration of that winning that competition in 2014. And I hadn't seen Madge for a while. And we hooked up again on that day. And I said, how you going with the Origin? He'd already been named Origin coach and all this sort of stuff. He said, it's big time, but I mean, he coached New Zealand and Premiership winning coach in England as well. So he's not scared of stepping into the ring, man.
What happened with the West Tigers, right?
Well, it was West Tigers, right?
Okay, thank you.
So
they needed good sprays at West Tigers. He gave them.
He said to me, if there was something going on with the State of Origin and I give you a call, would you come out? I went, sure, mate, just ring me. So fast forward to about 2 weeks ago, and I get this phone call, and I see Madge Maguire come up.
Great.
So I go, Madge, how you going? So at this stage, it's 1-1. They give us a bit of a hiding in the first one. We kick their ass in Melbourne. It's 1-1. And he said, what are you doing next Monday night? And I went, well, if you're asking me to do something, I'm cancelling whatever's on. What's on? He said,
The Whisperer.
He said, well, the squad gets picked for the third game on the Sunday night. And I've been talking to Steve Waugh as well, and I've asked him, and now I'm asking you to come out and speak to them in the dressing room like you did for the Rabbitohs 10 years ago. I said, I'm there.
Yeah.
I mean,
That, mate.
Absolutely.
mate, Mate, I get emotional about this shit because I just think, oh, how humbled am I? Am I to be asked to go out and speak to the state of origin?
Incredible year, hasn't it?
Mate, it's been amazing. It really has. And then to go out with Tugger, who I met when he was 19. We played together for 10 years. He ended up a GOAT, one of the greatest batsmen, captains, cunning bowler when he was bowling, gun in the field. And Stephen feels exactly the same. Well, we all do about being in that room. That's our home dressing room. So I went, well, yeah, Madge, I'm in. And, like, I feel like we're in me blazer, me New South Wales cricket blazer, which I got given 44 years ago, and I've only had it out three times in the last 30 years. So I thought, I'm going to wear me blazer, Madge. He went, mate, that'd be magic. And I said, do you want me to bring in, like, me blues cap, like me baggy blue cap? Because there's a baggy green, and we've got a baggy blue. And the baggy green's a big prize, but you can't get that without the baggy blue. So the baggy blue means so much. It's this transitional thing between club cricket and international cricket.
So you can't get a baggy green without receiving your state baggy? Is that so?
You can't get picked for Australia without playing for a state.
Okay.
Oh,
Like,
wow.
you can't get
no
picked-
idea about
Yeah,
that.
you can't get picked out of club cricket to play for Australia. You've got to be playing for a state. I don't know whether anybody's ever been picked out of a club game
Wow.
to play for Australia.
And that's been ever since the start of
Yeah,
cricket in
pretty
Australia.
much.
Wow.
Yeah, which is 1880, say. So that's 140 odd years.
Yeah.
So I ring Tugger up then.
Craig Coleman.
Ray
That's
on a
another
weekend.
classic. No, South Sydney boy. We can have a laugh at that. So I ring up Tugger Waugh, and I go, and he goes, wow, Widow, wow, I've spoken to Madge too. Man, unbelievable. This is the GOAT telling me how unbelievable this is. I said, I'm wearing my blazer, and I'm taking in the last jumper that I played in, which I'd had for about the last 4 or 5 years of my career. 2 Shield finals in that jumper. Never washed it. Still got the stains of the champagne and shit on it. And I'm taking in me bag, which has got me baggy blue, me baggy green, and me baggy yellow. So you had a bit of a baggy yellow in the... I played my first one-day game 1983. That was before the baseball cap sort of thing come out. So I've got this sort of baggy yellow, which is... Well, I'll tell you what happened with that. So Stephen says, well, my baggy green that was 168 tests old and is falling apart. Remember that cap?
Yeah.
That's in the museum at the SCG. So he's asked the museum, I want that to be brought in the dressing room. I want my red rag that I used to wear in my pocket to be brought into the dressing room, and the bat that I scored the 100 with off the last ball against England at the SCG, I want that to be brought in the dressing room.
Is that the bats in this museum as well?
Those 3 things are in that museum.
What about the box?
I don't know about his box. He never got hit in the nuts. He was that good.
Really? Wow.
He was that good. Not in my time did I ever see him get hit in the nuts. He was that good.
That's fucking nuts, man.
I got hit in the nuts plenty because I couldn't see the fucking... That is nuts. So we arrive. We've got to be there at Monday night. And Madge says there'll be 20 players in the squad, 20 staff, and then 20 other people. Half of those will be ex-players, including the Mortimer brothers, including Turvey, who's not going real well at the moment, plus their wives. So there's 60 people going to be there. The dressing room's big enough to hold 60, but the team's got to sit down, and then the rest of the crowd was there. So we go into the dressing room. Stephen and I got there early, and we put all our memorabilia out. He's looking at my memorabilia, Tugger, going, and then the curator of the museum comes in with his hat, and they got white gloves on.
White gloves, yeah. I was gonna say.
All this stuff, and I go, there it is! The cap that he wore for 168, it's falling apart.
Now, he was one of the very first cricketers to just not refuse not to change the cap, right? He kept.
Yep.
He was one of the very
They
first.
offered him a number of replacements. I think he might have been given another cap, but he never wore that. He just wore this one,
Same one.
this one
'Cause
cap.
from that, there was a lot of cricketers that came after him that did the same thing that he
Absolutely,
did. Right?
but what people don't know about Stephen is this. When he captained the side, he made everybody wear their baggy green for the first session of the first day's play. After that, you could wear your fielding hat, whatever, but on that first time that you went out, whether that was the first innings, it might be the second day of the game, or you're walking out on day one, everybody wore their baggy green. In my day, I wouldn't have worn my baggy green a dozen times. I wore a fielding hat. there was a stigma around it. Stephen also made everybody understand that this is your number. Now, my number's 313. I didn't even think about that for a number of years. I knew we had a number, but it wasn't a big deal. Stephen also started the presentation of the cap on the ground. Now, when I debuted in 81, the manager just flicked my cap across the room. There's your cap. There's your jumper. There was none of that ceremony of getting an old player to present it and say, you're number 412, mate. Forever. That's you. Good luck. We just expect you to go hard for Australia. So Steve and the Blazer going out to toss. He brought a lot of that stuff in, and they've hung on to it now because it's really, really important. So all this stuff's there.
What about your pop vinyl with the 313 on it?
No, I left that at home.
Okay.
That's another story, right? People have got no idea what the fuck you're talking about.
They
with
will.
a pop
They
vinyl.
will. Everyone knows what a
Well,
Funko
we'll put photos
pop
up.
vinyl.
Yeah, we'll put photos
Can you
up.
do that? Yeah. Thanks.
So they start to arrive. And really early, Jake Trbojevic comes over to Stephen and I and says, thanks very much for coming tonight as a captain. We really appreciate
What a guy,
it.
eh? What a guy.
And
He's a lovely
Stephen,
bloke.
Well, you can't hate
I
him.
think
No one hates him.
Stephen sort of said, that's a really good start, Jake. Like, thank you very much. It's what you'd expect that a captain should do, but a lot of captains don't understand that that's what you need to do. I'll fast forward to the Tuesday night. I'm sitting at home the night after, and my phone goes, and here's this text. Mike, it's Jake Trbojevic again. Just wanted to say thank you for what you did last night. The boy, mate, fair dinkum.
Wow.
There we, yeah, mate. Big
that
round.
deserves one.
The only thing I don't like about Jake is that he plays for Manly. But besides that, mate, I said to Madge later, a quality person.
Quality.
Just to do that. So then we get him in the dressing room. This is our dressing room. There's signatures. Stephen and I got signatures on the wall when we won the Sheffield Shield, and that'll never be taken away. And I actually said, is there anybody who's been in the room? Crichton and Connor Watson from Eastern Suburbs. They're the only people that have been in that room and changed.
We're talking about the Roosters again.
Yeah. But, man, we got to meet them all. They're just lovely, lovely boys, and they all said thank you. We look. What am I going to say to them? I'm a Blue as well. We just played another sport. How you dive into being a Blue? That's exactly what fucking Stephen and I would have done. We would have died playing cricket for New South Wales.
That's what I want to hear.
So
Yeah.
it's the same. We just played a different sport. So Stephen and I told them how we felt.
Great.
And they look, it's all right for me talking. Then the goat takes over. And Stephen starts talking, and it just goes, like you could have heard that.
Yeah.
And I'm in awe as well listening to him.
I would have
Because,
rather listened to you, man, than Worsey.
well, I got to tell you this, Ray. When you get to know Stephen,
Yeah.
he's really quiet. And I've had people come up to me over the years say, I saw him at this function and I want him to autograph a thing, and he didn't even hardly talk to me. I go, he's embarrassed, mate.
Yeah.
He's really, really quiet. And then they'll say, but when he was captain, I go, he had to do that. He made himself do that. It's not that he don't want to engage. He's just so shy and almost embarrassed about his greatness. But when you got him in a dressing room like that, in that situation,
Comes
just,
out.
Man, and he just talked.
Wow.
I said, get me the new ball. I want to make it open the bowling right now.
Mike Whitney off the back of it.
Oh, man, like it was just...
Even when we played at the Steve Waugh Medal that night, and he came and spoke to us after we
Yeah.
did that gig,
Yeah.
it was really special. And he's got this calming voice, hasn't he? Like,
He's
incredible.
he's a pretty amazing bloke, to know, because I met him when he's 19. So I've watched him grow up, and I watched him play the game. I watched him expand his game. I watched him become just an unbelievable tactician. He's 3 moves ahead. Tub Taylor was great. Tub was always a couple of moves ahead. Stephen seemed to be more than that, and the players loved him. They would have died for him. So to watch him engage these guys, and then we're all moving out into the bar where they've got a long table that seats 60.
Wow.
One long table in the bottom bar.
Is that so the girl can jump up on the table
On the bar
and walk
absolutely,
right across?
and you can look up a skirt.
The poles on the bar. Isn't it?
Yeah, the other wives that weren't there weren't happy.
Oops.
Sorry, this is at the bottom of the SCG.
Yes. Now, when you walk in the bar at the SCG, I've had a lot of luncheons and dinners up there, but never in the bar. So right in front of the bar, they had this table that went the whole length. That sat 60 people. They were all just, well, what about leaving the dressing room? They're looking at the memorabilia. And I said, you can touch mine, but you can't touch Stephen's because this is white glove stuff. They're picking up. I said, how many of you have touched a baggy green? No one. A baggy blue? No one.
How unreal.
No one. And they're picking it up and they're looking at it. And like I said before, this is the third time I'd worn my blazer in 30 years. And I told them, this is my Blues blazer, the only one I ever got, 1980. Punched my fucking chest. Mate, that got their attention.
Yeah.
I went, hey, this is it for me. I said, I got emotional putting this thing on. And then I'm watching them look. I go, Dan, I'm going to fucking cry now pulling this shit out. This is how much it means to you.
Yeah.
And I don't take it. I said to him, I don't take this stuff and publicly show it. My caps live in mate, they live in a place where people they're in my safe. People can't get into my safe. I'm the only one on planet Earth that knows the combination of my safe.
3478.
That's it. They live close. They live in this safe, and my blazer's in a plastic thing with my Aussie blazer. You just don't pull this shit out.
Yeah.
To have it there and watching them look at this stuff and then look at Stephen's cap, like their eyes, oh, this is serious shit, boys. This is why we're here, and we want to tell you how we feel about it. So then we go out, we have the dinner. Stephen and I again spoke at the dinner. Blocker Roach spoke at the dinner.
Go Blocker.
Benny spoke at the dinner.
No, not Benny.
Junior spoke at the dinner. Madge spoke. But Peter Mortimer's son had a band. So there was Chris, Steve and Peter
great.
Mortimer.
Yeah.
Great, yeah.
And they're playing, and next minute they go, Madge goes, Widow, you and Junior, because Junior's there. Yes, I've got to. Are you going to get up and sing?
Junior would have been drilling.
I had to hold Junior down to get up there before him.
Cover tackle.
Had to elbow him out the way, shoulder him, get out the way, Junior. So I got up.
Steve Waugh's speech worked on you to tackle Junior.
Absolutely, mate. So I got up and sang April Sun in Cuba. Junior got up and sang dun 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 dun.
Violent Femmes.
Yeah, Blister in the Sun.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
it. And then they're calling for more people to get up. Mitchell Moses got up and sang Sweet Caroline.
Is that
all
okay?
right?
Went okay.
Yep.
With Matt Burton on backing up vocals.
Yep.
And then Jerome Luai got up.
Here we go.
Wow.
I don't know what he's saying.
Tennessee whiskey?
Mate,
No?
R&B.
voice
R&B.
of an angel. And I'd only said to him earlier when he walked in, dancing feet, and like they go to grab you and you're just fucking not there anymore. He's like a magician. So then after that I went, dancing feet, like a magician, and the voice of an angel. It was just...
Yeah.
So then I'm talking to a couple of the other boys and I go, the Islander boys and that, do they sing all the time? This is Liam Martin. He goes, out at Penrith, you should hear them in the shower. They just they've either been in the church choir or the whatever.
So they can harmonise and everything.
Mate, he went, unbelievable. So I'm sitting next to Liam Martin. He just come over to say hello.
Peaky Blinder?
He's one of my favourite players.
Oh, those shots.
So he sits down, he goes, how you going, Mike? I go, Liam, one of my favourite players. You put your body where other people don't. And Steve Waugh's led around me and gone, Liam, one of my favourite players too. He sat back. Like
Freaking out.
I kept going through his head. Steve Waugh's told me I'm one of his favourite. Don't worry about me saying that.
Yeah.
The GOAT has leant round me and gone, mate, one of my favourite players too. Lovely, lovely, lovely.
Is this the
young
point
man.
where you gave him the South contract? So come on the South.
Mate, it was just...
Quick question on that. You've done many speaking gigs over the years and you're very experienced at it. Do you still get nervous at an event like this, or is it like it's a big occasion?
Yeah. Because you don't want to say the wrong thing. You want to give the information out that you think's going to be the right thing to encourage them and enthuse them and make them think about what Stephen and I have said. So between the Thursday and the Monday night, this is what I always do. I start to rehearse in my head what I'm going to say, and then I get that in a pattern and it's just locked in. So early I'm going to talk about that, then I'm going to talk about that, then I'm going to talk about
So
that.
nothing written down for you, just all in your head.
Never write it down. Never. But I just have this some innate ability to put it together over the next couple of days. And then when I'm thinking about it, I'm like, nah, that's shitty. I'll just throw that out. I just sort of go, wipe it out and then whack something else in there. Yeah, I've always been a weirdo, Ray, haven't I?
Yeah, I like that. What about the vibe? Was the vibe genuine? Like, was it fair? Could you tell that they're going to fucking go for this?
They're ready, mate.
Yeah. That's what
they're ready to go. They were ready to go last Monday night. And that's a week ago.
Yeah.
They were
fantastic.
ready.
So what's going to happen, man? What's the score going to be? Who's going to win?
Oh, Queensland are going to win easy. Fucking who do you think's going to win?
I'm putting money on Queensland.
Who played 94 Sheffield
I'm
Shield games.
putting money on Queensland.
Well, I can't talk to you again then.
Okay, sorry. What do you reckon, Dorsey?
Well, I want to ask one question first. Steve Mortimer.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
There's this immortal image of Steve when he was the captain, I believe, and they won the series, and he's on someone's shoulder and his arms are in the air. There's a story there that happened on the night with Steve.
There is. That's one of the great moments of Origin, with Turvey being chaired off by Junior, Chrissy's brother, I think, Peter Wynn. There's 4 or 5 guys. So Madge has had that photo put into a trophy. Now, I don't know if they're going to award the trophy to the player of the Origin, whatever, within the Blues. Mm-hmm. But they got all those players there that night and they recreated that photo out on the ground. Now, Turvey's not in a good place with his memory and stuff like that, but he was aware of enough with his 2 brothers, because Chris and Peter Mortimer were there, and they held him up on the SCG, and he got one of his arms up like this.
Pretty emotional stuff.
Mate, for everybody there.
Yeah.
Just to see Turvey. Look, I used to run into Turvey a lot. And I said hello to him the other night, and I don't think he really knew it was me.
It was sad.
Very, very sad. But to make the effort to be there on that night, and all of the boys said, mate, he's still putting his heart and soul into it, even though he doesn't know what's going on. He's here at this Origin gig for us.
Yeah.
And as a player, seeing him there, if you can't, get up for that and play for a bloke like that in the history there.
100%, mate. It was very, very special out on the ground. Turvey's missus was there, and actually all the Mortimer wives were there. It was very emotional looking at them. It was. Look, I'm walking out the joint with Stephen, and he goes, like, he's been to everything. He's been to the L'Oreal World Sports Awards, whatever it is. The Australian team won that. They won 16 tests in a row. He's been everything. ICC, Hall of Fame, everything. Made speeches everywhere he goes. Wow, that was a pretty special night again, Tugger! My man! And then I realised that he's parked inside the fucking SCG.
Oh, man.
So I go to the 2 blokes on the door. What do you got to get, a fucking statue? You got to get a statue put outside the members before you can park it. They all started laughing. It's great.
But on Ray's question about the score of the game, but the scene is set for a monumental game, isn't it?
Absolutely.
In Queensland,
Mate,
1
I'm
all.
so worried for the Blues, really, man.
But after what you and Tugger have done, and to rev them up, it's going to be.
Mate, I
massive
just
game.
want to tell you about when Steve and I were leaving. We went round and shook everybody's hand. Every one of them, to a T, went, thank you so much. We're so grateful that you guys were here tonight. Really appreciate it. So I see Stephen Crichton, and he's like 5 inches taller than me.
He's massive.
And he goes, oh, thanks very much, Mike, for tonight. I go, look at you fucking athlete. I just wanted to be like you. Look at
He's quietly spoken.
Really quietly
It's
spoken.
like he uses breath when he speaks.
The other
doesn't
one
he?
that I said that to was Zac Lomax. I said, look at you, run, kick, jump up in the air, kick goals from the sideline, unbelievable.
I know what he said to you.
He said,
I want to be a centre.
But just on that, the kicking at the MCG from the sideline in front of 90,000 people, there's some pressure doing that.
He nailed it. He nailed it.
Do you reckon they'll throw that 4X? Yeah.
Unbelievable. So
I've got a question though. Being a coach myself and looking at players when you're speaking, right? There's always that time where you think, am I getting through? Like, are these, and you can normally pinpoint 1 or 2 players that are they're just soaking it in and they're like ready to go. Did you see any of those players you were like, this guy's going to run through a brick wall after what I've just said? I mean, I know you went around and you know, most of them were like, but I mean, in that moment you were speaking.
When I shook Angus Crichton's hand, and I went...
He squashed your hand, didn't he?
I said, man, you've just gone to another level, brother.
Oh, nice.
And he just looked at me and he went, thanks. I said something else to him too, which is private. I won't talk about that, but...
He's a huge human, isn't he?
Mate, they're all very big boys.
But don't forget,
bigger than you think.
They're very big
Ruben
boys.
Cotter came at him, and he just put his hand up, and it was like he was pushing away like a baby.
Well, do you know when did he grab Cotter around the throat, or did he grab Reece Walsh around the throat? Down in Melbourne. He grabbed one of them around the throat. Blocker got up. Madge said, Blocker, get up and say a few words. So Blocker's giving, and then he goes, and Angus, when you put your hand around that fucking bloke's throat in Melbourne, right? And Crichton goes, yeah. He said, you only made one mistake. You should have ripped his fucking throat out. Well, the whole joint just so blocker. But all of those guys, Benny, Junior, all of them. Greg Brentnell was there.
Oh,
what a
wow.
surprise that was.
Legend.
Yeah, absolute superstar.
Yep.
For those guys to turn up as well just showed the team how much it meant to the old players.
Yeah.
And then to have me and Stephen there telling them we're Blues as well, mate. I said to them, every time since 1980 that you have taken the field, I've sat on the fucking edge of my seat. This is how much. Because I said to them, I want to be a rugby league player. You're doing what I wanted to do. I want to play for the Bunnies.
Oh, they would have loved that.
I played until I was 20, but somehow cricket found me and I jumped down that rabbit hole. But I loved the contact.
You must have walked out of there, walking to your car thinking, fuck, I can open the bowling for New South Wales tomorrow. I'm pumped.
Yeah.
Dawes, I just felt so humble and so grateful to be asked.
Yeah.
Like Madge could have called up a shitload of people and they all would have said, yep, I'm there.
Yep.
But you're the whisperer now. You are.
But me and Stephen, just humble to be with Stephen at any time. I just love him and he's already told me he loved playing with me because he said, I just knew you were fucking up for a widow all the time. And that's all people have got to say to you.
And not to forget that you're now an inductee of the New South Wales Cricket Hall of Fame. So you're up there. And this is not to blow smoke.
Big year, man. Big year.
First thing on the agenda, get your parking spot.
Yeah. So I'm sure, as you know, Madge really well, but I'm sure part of his mindset was we need a bloke here who's in the New South Wales Cricket Hall of Fame, and Widow's the go-to guy for
Dawes,
that.
you know I don't talk about that still because I haven't been able to accept it yet. And it's 7 months down the track. It happened at the Sydney Test match.
So you know what it feels like to be Steve Waugh. And he's very humble. You know that. You know that humility.
Super humble.
Yeah.
Super humble. Almost like I said, to be embarrassed about it.
My question would be around like the similarities between playing for New South Wales in cricket and playing for New South Wales in rugby league, because you know the big idea that people don't understand, and this is the thing that they talk about, like the Queenslander and the spirit and that, is because, I mean, it happened in cricket as well, right? Which is where that's why State of Origin happened, because it became where you were born, or where that's where. Now, cricket had that same problem for a long time. You know, and has that really ever been rectified where you have to play for where you were born, or do you know what I mean? Like,
Went out the window.
So, right. So those similarities, and then so that's where I think New South Wales need to find that. You know what I mean? They've got to be able to go, you know, sure, Queensland have cried poor because a lot of their Queenslanders before 1980 had to play for New South Wales because that's where they were. New South Wales have to lose that sort of guilt or whatever that is.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That Queenslander have that, because in cricket, they had a very similar situation.
We did. Well, I could only play for Randwick Cricket Club when I was growing up because I lived in the Randwick Council municipality. And then after about 3 or 4 years of playing, they stopped that residency thing. And I think that was also the case that you had to play in New South Wales for a club side to be picked for New South Wales. Like you couldn't be picked from another state to play for New South Wales. And a lot of players didn't move around in my day. There was no money in the game. You weren't going to go to Perth and get paid extra money and get a job. So, but now there's a lot of player movement all around. So, you know, we keep telling our young blokes, New South Wales and the Baggy Blues. And then there's a player there, he played for us. He went to Victoria for 5 years, and he come back, went to South Australia for 2 years, then he's back. So he's a blue bagger, but this is the third state he's played for. And do those guys feel like I did?
Yeah.
Like, I would have never have left New South Wales.
Yeah.
They could have offered me a job and double my money, and I would have gone, fuck off, I'm a blue bag.
Yeah.
It's like it's reversed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like early cricket, you had to play for
Yeah.
where you lived.
Yeah.
And then early rugby league, you played for where you could get the money.
That's right.
So, you know what I mean? So I think coming from, you and Tugger, it's like that is, you were that playing for New South Wales because that's where you lived and that's the origin.
100%.
Was that the sense of what the sort of speech you were talking about?
Basically, and telling some stories of the dressing room. Keith Miller, I've got a lot of Keith Miller stories, and they're just amazing. And he was just a legend. Keith Miller is the first Australian cricketing playboy. One of my favourite stories is apparently, and Michael Parkinson asked him this in an interview one time, said, is it true that a young player came up to you once in the dressing room and said, the pressure of playing first-class cricket is just incredible? And Keith Miller went, yes, that's right. And Keith Miller was a World War II fighter pilot. He flew Mosquitoes, which were sort of fighters and bombers, little bombers. And he went, yeah, and I turned around and said to him, having 2 Messerschmitts up your ass firing at you, that's pressure, son, over the English Channel, yeah. And he said the kid just sort of turned around and walked away after that.
So to wrap up this short little episode, but for Game 3, you've got extra skin in the game there, haven't you? So you're going to be sitting there watching it, and when the boys do win, you're going to be feeling extra euphoric, thinking, fuck, actually something I imparted to the guys may have just given that edge.
If something that Stephen and I said to them that night gives them a 0.5% or even 1% edge, we've done our job, because that's all you need in that level of sport
100%.
to win.
Yep.
It's just got to be a smidgen past them. So, of course, we talked about playing in front of 50,000, erratic Queensland. I said, don't you want to go up there on their dung heap, fucking take it from them in front of their own crowd? Is there a better way to win the game
Spoil
than
the party.
steal it from their ground in front of their people and bring it back here where it deserves to be? Well, you see their eyes light up then a bit.
Yeah.
And these are what Steve and I said to them. It's fucking great, mate. I'm very humbled and very honoured and very grateful to be able to go and do things like that. And
Fantastic.
I thank Madge so much for giving us the opportunity. And when we win, I said to him at the 10th anniversary, thanks for letting me have a piece of that year, Madge. It really meant a lot to me. I'll never forget it. I'll never forget that either the other day. It was just a wonderful thing to be involved in, and these young blokes, all just such lovely, lovely young men, unbelievable athletes, really respectful, everything. I could not say one negative or bad thing about that whole night, even with the old players. And those old guys played when I was playing, so I know them all.
Yeah.
And it was just so fucking great to see a lot of them again in the one room at a rugby league gig. And they were on fire, the old fellas. Don't worry about that.
Well, on that note, thanks, Widow, for sharing that.
Widow.
Because,
Thank you very much.
Don't all cry now,
Well, it's a
I'm very
privilege.
emotional, man.
28-22 Queensland.
Oh, Ray, stop it. Stop it.
You can have a go at me when what's your score? Come on, Widow.
30-10 New South Wales.
And man of the match?
Man of the match.
Angus Crichton.
Yeah, Angus Crichton. Angus Crichton.
Go, Josh.
Me, I think it's going to be very small. It's going to be like 8-6 or 8-4 for me. I think.
Man of the match?
Oh, man of the match. You know what? I think that they're gonna have to have something for Queensland to celebrate. So Reece Walsh has to get man.
Yeah, he's got to be
good.
on fire
That'll be
for them to
reversed.
win.
Jawsy, come on, buddy.
1910.
Ooh,
Field goal involved.
Field goal.
Yeah.
Man of the match?
Angus.
Crichton.
Yeah.
Yeah, I reckon man of the match, the referee.
Who is the ref? Do you know who the ref
Ashley
is?
Klein.
Ashley
It's the same bloke. Well, he only blew 4 penalties in the
Mate,
last
he would have
game.
had the pressure put on him, mate. It's going to be such a hard task. But if anyone can do it, it'll be the Blues. Oh, they're the only team that's playing with.
How's that? Thank you, Dawsey.
How's that?
Hey, Josh, appreciate it.
Thanks for
having me on.
I feel honoured. I feel very honoured to hear that story. Thank you so much.
So go the Blues.
Go the Bluesies!
And until next time, over and out. Catch you later. Bye.